Welcome back to Leafy Advice. I'm Laura, and I just wanted to give a few quick tips on watering, and I think this is going to be my last video on watering advice for your plants. So generally, like if you're going away on a trip, you know that your plants still need water while you're gone, but you don't know what to do. So there's a couple things you can do to make sure that your plants have enough water while you're gone. So obviously you could ask someone to take care of your plants. Or you could add stuff to the soil, if you know what I mean. So you can buy watering bulbs, you can buy Oyas, and those are spelled O-L-L-A, or you could also make one. There's some great DIY videos that you can look up. And basically those are vessels that you stick in the soil, and they have water in them, and they slowly give your plant water so that your plant can take water when it needs it over time, and you don't have to worry about it as much. That might buy you, I would say, up to like 2 weeks, but if you're gone for a longer period of time, you definitely need someone to take care of the plant for you. Another tip I have with watering is, especially if you're a beginner planter, you should have drainage holes in your pots. And what I mean by a drainage hole is it's literally got a hole in the bottom, and when it has that, it means therefore you need to buy a saucer for it, or you put it in an inner pot, larger pot, and that is so that you can know how much water your plant needs. So you can easily see, like when it's got all the water it needs in its soil, it'll start seeping out into the inner pot or the saucer, and that's really helpful for a beginner gardener or, house plant owner, so that you can learn how much your plant needs instead of accidentally killing a few before you figure it out. Another thing is, if you just have plants and you have no idea how much water they need, I have a couple general rules that I use to determine how much water it needs. So the first thing I would do is, if I know what kind of plant it is, if I know the species, I'll just look it up. There's lots of great advice online. People will say this is how often you need to water, or this is how much water it needs. And that's really helpful. But if you don't know the species or what kind of plant it is, I would look at the foliage. So this is a snake plant, and it has thick, waxy leaves. You can see the shine on the plant, and then it's just thickly leaved. And that means that it's holding water in the leaves, so it's drought tolerant. And it doesn't need as much water as a result. Same thing with succulents. They've got, thick, waxy leaves. They might also have a powdery coating, but it's still holding water, and therefore it's drought tolerant. I have some plants that need more water. So these are ones with thin foliage and also just generally very moist, humid habitats. So palms, parlor palm, Kentia palm, palm trees, they need water, lots of water. So they have thin foliage, and you can see, they also have thin trunks, thin stems, and yeah, they're going to need more water. So I'll either water them more deeply or water them multiple times a week. I also have a fern. Ferns are notoriously need lots of water. This one I almost killed by underwatering it, but it's coming back quite nicely. So thin, delicate foliage, needs more water basically. Now, if you genuinely have no idea, how often do you water a plant? Every day? Every month? I don't know. I would say most plants, they like water about once a week. And that works for most plants I have, even succulent versus fern. Once a week works pretty well. Some plants, they like once every 2 weeks, and I would consider 2 weeks and beyond, those would be drought tolerant plants and plants that are listed as they need low water. Medium water is once a week, and then if it needs every 5 days or every 3 days it needs water, that is a plant that needs lots of water, and it's going to say so on its label. And the last thing you can do about watering is basically just the pots. So terracotta pots are porous. I think I've said this before, but they're porous, which means they allow water out between them. like out from them. So the soil in a terracotta pot will dry out faster. So if you have a drought tolerant plant, you might want to put it in a terracotta pot so that you make sure it doesn't sit in wet soil. A plastic inner pot, not porous, will keep water in it for longer. And those are the two main options that you'll find. So I'm not going to talk about other kinds of inner pots that you can find, but yeah, so I hope this has helped you take care of watering your plants, and thanks for watching.